In a world where transparency and communication are supposed to guide the healthcare industry, recent events have left patients, clinicians, and companies grappling with confusion and frustration. The FDA's handling of critical decisions about groundbreaking therapies, specifically Sarepta Therapeutics' Elevidys and Capricor Therapeutics' deramiocel, has sparked outrage and debate. Leaks, miscommunication, and a lack of clarity have placed immense pressure on families waiting for treatments and on companies trying to navigate regulatory waters. But here's where it gets controversial. Should the FDA be held accountable for these leaks, or is this a symptom of deeper systemic issues? And more importantly, who ultimately pays the price when trust in the system erodes? Let's start with Sarepta Therapeutics, a company that has been at the center of a whirlwind surrounding its Duchenne Muscular Dystrophy, DMD, gene therapy, Elevidys. Families desperate for answers have been left in limbo, turning to social media and news outlets just to stay informed. Chet Villa, a professor of pediatrics at Cincinnati Children's Hospital Medical Center, described the situation as chaotic. People are constantly checking social media and the news for updates, he explained. There's so much information floating around, but it's hard to know what's reliable. For some families, the stakes were even higher. Craig McDonald, director of the MDA Neuromuscular Disease Clinics at UC Davis, shared a story about a patient who was literally waiting in a hotel room to receive treatment when news broke about potential delays. The FDA and Sarepta were issuing statements to clarify earlier reports about an FDA-requested hold on Elevidys dosing, McDonald recounted. Meanwhile, my patient and their family were sitting there, ready to proceed, unsure of what would happen next. Eventually, Sarepta agreed to pause shipments of Elevidys voluntarily, but not before McDonald's patient received their dose. Still, the entire ordeal left a bitter taste. This method of communication, what seemed like leaks from the FDA to reporters, put families in an incredibly stressful position, McDonald said. Sarepta's troubles began earlier this year when 2 teenage patients died due to acute liver failure, a known risk associated with the AAV vectors used in gene therapies. The situation worsened when a third patient, an adult participant in a Phase 1 study for SRP-9004, which uses similar technology, also passed away. The FDA responded by requesting a halt to all Elevidys shipments, sending shockwaves through the community. In over 3 decades, I've never seen the FDA engage with investment reporters like this, leaking information without properly communicating with companies, McDonald remarked. The controversy extends beyond Sarepta. Capricor Therapeutics, another player in the DMD space, found itself blindsided when an advisory committee meeting for its investigational cell therapy, deramiocel, was abruptly canceled. Linda Marbin, Capricor's CEO, described the experience as disorienting. Investors watch these boards religiously, she said. When the meeting disappeared from the Federal Register, my phone started ringing off the hook. I had no answers to give because we hadn't been officially notified. Capricor reached out to the FDA, but received no immediate response. A week later, the company got a one-line email stating the meeting had been canceled for now. Adding insult to injury, Capricor was contacted by a reporter seeking comment on the ouster of Nicole Verdun, the director of the FDA's Office of Therapeutic Products, who had been placed on administrative leave. According to Marbon, rumors swirled that Verdun and her deputy had been sidelined due to disagreements over Capricor's file, a claim that further muddied the waters. The leaks haven't just created chaos, they've also raised questions about the FDA's credibility. Costas Bilioris, an analyst at BMO Capital Markets, noted in an investor note that the agency's recent actions have negatively impacted the confidentiality and credibility of the FDA. Even Vinay Prasad, the former director of the Center for Biologics Evaluation and Research, CBER, reportedly expressed frustration about internal leaks before his sudden departure. In a letter to colleagues, Prasad condemned the practice of sharing confidential information publicly, calling it unacceptable. So, what does all this mean for patients and companies? For families affected by DMD, the stakes couldn't be higher. Pat Furlong, founding president and CEO of Parent Project Muscular Dystrophy, emphasized that parents shouldn't rely on social media or press releases for updates. Information needs to come in a way that can be explained and understood, she said. Yet, even official communications from the FDA have felt unusually candid, leaving observers puzzled. For instance, following the death of a trial participant, an HHS official told reporters that the agency was considering pulling Elevidys from the market, a statement that seemed premature to many. This isn't the first time the current leadership has stirred controversy. Since taking office, FDA Commissioner Marty Makary has proposed several policies aimed at speeding up drug approvals and reducing costs. However, critics argue that these proposals lack detail, leaving manufacturers and observers confused. Rachel Sachs, a law professor specializing in health regulation, pointed out that vague statements aren't helpful for stakeholders trying to understand the agency's direction. Marbon echoed this sentiment, emphasizing the need for action over words. There's been a lot of talk about regulatory flexibility and accelerating approvals, she said. But until we see tangible changes, it's hard to get excited. As the dust settles, one question remains. How can the FDA rebuild trust while balancing transparency and confidentiality? Is it possible to strike a balance that serves both patients and companies? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Are these leaks a sign of dysfunction, or do they reflect a necessary shift toward greater accountability?